Sunday, everybody, and welcome to a special Mother's Day edition of Woodbine Racing Live. I'm Elisa Blow, joined as always by Tbred. And first things first, we should say hello and happy Mother's Day to our mothers.
Yeah, that's right. I know your mom is watching, Beth. She was cutting the grass earlier on today.
Chopping a tree down.
Chopping a tree down. And I think there's about a 2% chance my mom is watching.
But she's proud of you.
She is. But my dad is more of the horse racing fan than my mom. My mom will... like the big races she'll tune in for.
My mom's the brains of the operation.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
What does Dad say about that?
Oh, he knows that.
Okay.
10 races in store for you on this afternoon's program. And I'm sure a lot of people here actually probably enjoying Mother's Day with their mothers, and everybody who is celebrating, happy Mother's Day. And for people like me, happy Mother's Day if you just got four-legged kids as well.
And
there's a lot of us with four-legged kids.
Our wonderful broodmares as well.
And our broodmares, yes. I think today when Robert announces, and I feel like he does this sometimes, when Robert announces the winners today, he should really emphasize the dams of the horses.
You know, it is amazing too what the broodmares do. You know, it's because they're in fool for 11 months.
Yeah, 11 months,
buddy. And then right away, most of the time, there are some cases where it doesn't go this way, but 95% of the time, they'll start nursing right away. The foal will, and you know, it's just, and they're so protective.
Oh yeah, but
know?
I like what I like the best is watching broodmares with their babies. Working as a team, right? Because it's really quite interesting. They give each other breaks, the other mares. So while one mare's, you know, taking a little bit of a snooze, the other mare will watch that baby for her. It's really quite interesting just to watch nature and, you know, how it all works out. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people here today enjoying the sunny weather and hopefully enjoying a lovely Mother's Day brunch maybe here at
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Because you're very much a casual fan when it comes to this. So we have 10 races today, and there's a pretty massive hockey game tonight.
I heard something about that, yeah.
I'm a bit of a nervous fella to begin with. Like, what does your gut feeling tell you about tonight's game? Yeah.
Well, the Leafs are playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
They're playing a team from Florida.
Don't they call them the Maple Losers?
Okay, I forget. I don't want to ask your prediction then. You're banned on the show. Banned.
I don't know. Listen, I'll keep watching the closer they get to the Stanley Cup. You know, then I'd hop on the bandwagon.
Okay.
But yeah, I won't be wearing my Leafs jersey next week or anything like that. We got to take a look back at what happened yesterday. Boy, oh boy, speed was the name of the game yesterday. If you weren't up on the front end or close to the front end, you weren't getting anything yesterday.
And essentially what happened when the one closer won was you had two horses just throwing it down. It was like a drag race.
It was.
And here comes Frostbitten from Nowheresville to pull off the victory. But you're right about that. If you were not forwardly placed, I thought the rail was pretty good yesterday too. So yeah, it was a formful program. You know, 50% rate overall. The average win payout was just $9.98. I felt terrible for Patty Dixon yesterday in the finale. His horse getting disqualified. I do think it was the right call, but yeah, so it's just one of those things where it was a speed-conducive racing surface. Now, will it be the same today? I don't know.
You know, just going back to Pat, I got to tell him, the jinx is over, because you know what they say? Bad things happen in threes. He's had 2 scratches at the gate, and then that DQ. Now everything's going to be smooth sailing, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's just been a really tough go for them this season, but things will get rolling. So yeah, yesterday speed was the name of the game, and as far as workouts this morning were concerned, this is actually kind of interesting what we're getting from Ernie Perry today, because he said that this track this morning played very fair as far as workouts were concerned. He rated it a 4. He said just a touch quicker after the Harrow break, not enough to bump it up to a 4.5. But what's very interesting here is the second note, playing even to even a lot more fair than the past few race days.
So if that prediction is correct, then we'll have a bit more of a neutral racing strip today.
Which would give us the same kind of program that we had last Sunday.
Right.
And last Sunday, it was extremely formful. Now, yesterday, again, you had to start to change your handicapping, you know, but after race 3 and just start looking for speed horses to kind of help you cash some checks. He's got a horse to watch from Julia Carey's outfit. 47-1 was the time for Lac Makaza, out in 59-3, looked really strong, is the note that Ernie he passed along. And as well, he's talking about race number 4, which is a really difficult race on today's program. Jeff and I both have completely different opinions in race number 4. And of course, just for us, it kicks off the pick 4.
Yeah. And like McCaslin, that older horse division, like Paramount Prince, his form tailed off towards the back half of last year, but now all of a sudden you've got Essex Serpent to race big yesterday. You've got Lac McCaslin, the older horse division right now. So that older horse division is very much murky right now. Like, we don't have a lot of long distance races early on in the meet. You've got Dresden Rowe is probably going to be very dominant.
Yeah.
You've got the Zelko Kretschmar horse that's going to be pretty dominant as well. So it's going to be a fun older horse division coming up a little bit later on.
Should be. Okay.
By the way, my mom texted me. She said
She's watching?
She said the 2% chance came.
Oh,
so
hi,
happy Mother's
Nancy.
Day, Mom.
Oh, that's great
Yeah.
that she's watching it. And I noticed too on your Facebook, it's actually you and your mother. You weren't like
It's
superimposed.
not photoshopped.
Yeah.
It's legit.
All right, good stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about on today's program, so we're going to start things off with our first topic of the day today.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we're going, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
You're doing a good job. You're keeping the car on the road.
All right, first topic of the day today, obviously race number 1. This is a great sign that, summer is here because it's our first 2-year-old race of the season. Now, they did write it for boys, but you're going to get girls that enter the race, and there's a number of fillies in this event. In fact, there are 4 fillies and only 2 colts 3 fillies and 3 colts in race number 1 on the program. Now, you have to assume that this Cassie horse, is the horse to beat. I mean, this is a $200,000 purchase, a son of Caravaggio, and the second foal out of a dam who herself was a one-time winner. But then you could look at the horse that Jeff Begg sends out here, and that's Sipping History. There's a lot of foundation underneath this 2-year-old, including workouts down south when the horse was stationed in Florida.
And I just love how kind of the stars align sometimes too, because this one's dam is represented in race 2. So it could be a very good day for this brood mare, as this is a half dissectologist, who's a very fast horse that we're going to have coming up in race number 2 on the program. I love playing fillies against the boys this time of the year. Got to give you guys props.
Because we do mature so
You're
much
more
faster.
Precocious. Some of us never mature as the male sex, but they have been very patient with this horse, bringing this one along. And I'm curious to see what your horse looks like too, because the pedigree, it's okay, but it's not going to blow you away. And the fact they paid $200,000 for this one, this horse must be a good looker.
Oh, it's got to be.
And so we'll see what we've got with that one. You've got the 6 Seeking Magic. Those are some fast works. Katrine's got bookends in here. You've got Kevin Rice. They entered this horse in a race at Gulfstream and they have to come up here instead.
Yeah, interesting. That dam, she never raced, but she's had 3 foals, and one of them is a horse by the name of Ninja Star, who won the Sunshine Turf Stakes. So, already this dam has produced a stakes winner, and that's Judy Chop. And Judy Chop gets the services of Brooke Bays. We haven't seen a ton of Brooke riding here, but of course we do know that she won the opener of the season. Everybody's going to be very familiar with that. So yeah, babies to start off the day in race number 1. Our second topic comes up for you in race number 3, and the topic is See Me?
Yes.
Right?
You want to know why?
I want to know why.
Because there's a horse that tries to be disguised in this race.
Ah, got it.
And that one's name is Brilliant Disguise, coming up in race number 3. But yeah, route racing here. And, for some, like a Street Princess, you might be thinking of a race like the Oaks, same with like a Serenading Kitten. And even Brilliant Disguise, they might be thinking about Oaks with this one as well. Now, Brilliant Disguise was sent down to Parks to get ready and is now here for conditioner Josie Carroll. Now, I don't know how to evaluate small fields like this.
Yes.
It's a field of 4. The horse last time out racing down at Parks loses to a Jamie Ness horse. Now, if you watch Parks on a regular basis, Jamie Ness is an extremely high percentage win trainer. The horse that won the race actually used to be a Chad Brown horse at one time. So this winner was obviously thought to be pretty nice. And the rider on the outside is looking behind. But what I like about Brilliant Disguise in here is, and we saw this kind of yesterday with some of the replays that we looked at. Once the horse got engaged, battled back a little bit in here, and this gets really, really close towards the wire, and will eventually lose by a nose. This is a couple of brutal beats for this horse, as a matter of fact.
You know what? You go back to yesterday's program, and doesn't this look like the 40-5 race again? I mean, that was a whisker that horse won by. But so tough defeat there for Brilliant Disguise. But Josie had a nice winner on the program yesterday with 40-5, and that was just a good bob that horse happened to have.
And you know what, too? I hope for Glenn Secura's sake, Brilliant Disguise, this Ellen Vannon, he has supported her to some really good stallions. And, she hasn't been a great producer at this point, but I think she's really close to this horse. And you might be onto the winner here coming up in race number 3. I'm going to take a shot with Street Princess, just thinking that, this is a horse that obviously is going postal for Kevin Attard. I think the horse has maybe been down south because comes up here, works a half a mile. And I realized first time it loses by 16 lengths, but look who the winner of that race was. Second place finisher from the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, absolutely. So race number 3 gets an opportunity to go around 2 turns in this maiden special weight event. Let's go to race number 4. This by far.
Do we have to?
I agree. Like, this is by far the toughest race to handicap on today's program, and it's a really tough way to kick off the early pick 4. You got to go pretty deep, I think, in this spot. Now, for me, Jeff, I got to play a hot barn in this race, and I can see that the horse is the morning line favorite, and that's Come On Big Lou for John Ross. John Ross has had a fantastic start to the year. We've seen this barn in the winner's circle already 3 times from just 5 starters, and this horse dropping from $25 down to $15,000. He is pricing him right and pricing him to win as far as I'm concerned.
And guess who he had a duel with last time out? A horse named Bob and Jules, who came back with a great run yesterday against way tougher. So you got a hot barn, you got a horse that's taken a bit of an edge here today as well. I think you're onto a real logical contender in that spot. I just wanted to find a bit of a price play in here. We're bringing on a holiday for the now Hall of Famer, Michael John Doyle. And this will be his first starter of the meet and showed a little bit of ability last season. And I'm just hoping that with a bit of a clean trip that maybe we're able to do some damage in here. But look at our pick 4 ticket here. It's like a Christmas tree.
I know.
We're going so deep in this spot.
If we had the money, we'd hit the all button, I think.
You just can't do it,
But
though.
you can't. And, it is certainly tricky. And it feels like one of those races where something that's going to be 30 to 1 is going to pop up and win. This firster that Paul Buttigieg sends out, the 2 horses, kind of interesting. And, if you watch the show regularly, you know that Jeff and I both like to play the Buttigieg horse's second start out. But this is the 8th foal from this mare. So you want to talk about a mare who's been a good mom. 8 foals, and 5 of the horses that she's produced have all found the winner's circle.
And the mare is a half to Dakota Phone, who won. It's a millionaire, as a matter of fact. So nicely bred. We're putting all our chips in race 7, though. We're going to get to that race coming up a little bit later on. But poor producer Mike, he asked us to do a superfecta ticket. And we're like, we can't.
No.
It's too hard at that race.
It's hard, and it's going to cost a bit of money unless you want to key a horse in a spot. But it just has that funny feel, like there could be some long shots that jump into that one. So that's the 4th race on the card where we kick off the pick 4. Definitely the toughest race on the program to handicap. And then after that, you're going to want to take a nap.
Yes, you are. A little siesta.
A little siesta as we move over to race number 6 on the program. Now, 6th race is a maiden event, optional $40,000 tags. Last start out, you and I both weren't sure what to do with Dark Danger. I think we saw a good race from this horse back on April the 26th to finish in 3rd behind a nice Tiller horse in Go-Kart Mozart. I'm going to go back to this one today.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That was a good run, and one that was a very unlucky loser in our first race of the season was Holiday Snooze. This is definitely a trouble trip horse. We've got a couple on the program today that we're going to take a look at. And Holiday Snooze, there was a bit of buzz with this one. Was a clocker horse, correct?
Yes, correct.
First time out this season. And right now we're having this ground-saving trip, and now Fraser's just looking for somewhere to go, and unfortunately it's not really going to develop in here. The eventual winner is gained out. He's here significantly on the turn. This is Bob and Jules, who again, just a repeat, came back to run very well yesterday for 40. Now he wants to split. It's not going to be there. So he's got to wait. And now he gets finally a chance to go here with Holiday Snooze. To me, the move up in class is kind of a bit of a mute point. With how the horse ran last time out, I'm not too worried about that. I just wonder if maybe we get a little bit overbet here today because of the treble trip last time.
That's true. And you know what's funny? Because we do our handicapping so far in advance, I had circled Bob and Jules and went, is that going to be a really big reference? I didn't think it was. And now after watching what I saw yesterday, I think it's a great reference, as you pointed out as well. So Holiday Snooze for Buttigieg, second start, and that's our move with that outfit.
I'm going to take a shot with Awesome Empire. Shows up as a first-time gelding here today, but I'm kind of glad that you're sticking with Dark Danger because that was a marked improved effort for that horse last time.
Well, we just didn't know what we were going to see, right? Because there were breaks in this horse's career, lightly raced. Of course, we need this barn to get rolling as well, but it'll only be a matter of time, and then we'll find Sid in the winner's circle. Rafael Hernandez won some races yesterday as well. So that's race number 6 on today's program. Next topic we want to go to is the late daily double. Now, Jeff and I don't, like, when we send our selections in, we never talk to each other. Never. And I thought I was onto something, and he was onto exactly the same thing. We both like a long shot on today's program, and we both used this horse in the top spot. Let's talk about it.
So this is Miramichi, who I picked last time out, and I thought she just ran okay. Naturally, you had the winner on that day.
Naturally.
That being Sinclarity. But I just think she sort of ran okay. But if you peel back to what she did second time out last season, she improved considerably. She gets a much better draw here today, that being post position number 5. I think there's some vulnerable horses in this race. I'm not sold on Jimmy's Affair. You know, that the drop in for a tag kind of worries me a little bit in here. Magic Tokens had a lot of chances in this spot. Nikita's Gem loves to finish in the second place position. I smell the program page, and it's a long shot to me.
I feel exactly the same way. I mean, you know, I take a look at it the same as you, and I thought, okay, like, you know, really thirsty. I think a lot of people are going to look at that horse because it's Cassie and it's Savachi, but these are state-bred races down in the States, and this horse was, you know, kind of backing away. Like at 5.5, that was a bit too far, which makes me wonder if 7/8 is even, you know, ideal for this horse at all. But he'll get play simply because she's a Cassie horse. So yeah, I think that's what we agree on. We're going to use Miramichi in the top spot. We're that brave that we're going to use this horse in our late double in the top spot.
We're going to play a little aggressive because when we get to
why
race
not?
number 10, and Road to Versailles is going to be the heavy favorite in here. You're going to go towards Magic Slip, so we're going to go too deep when it comes to that. We're going to use the 2 and the 3 in terms of our ticket for the back half of the double in here. Obviously, you know, your specific horse, Magic Slips, winter race, which I think is a huge plus. The form kind of tailed off a little bit at Gulfstream. And Road to Versailles, like, I might be getting hooked into this horse yet again. This is starting to become a bit of a sucker horse to me. But we do have a replay that we'll take a look at as we get to our next topic, because we're going to go on a road trip right now with Road to Versailles. And sometimes, if you work with Elise on a regular basis, Elisa will come in the next day, my drive home last night
it's a nightmare.
was just atrocious. And I said, I know, I feel your pain, like, because it is tough. You have a long, especially on Friday nights.
Friday nights are horrible.
And a Road to Versailles, he got into as much traffic as you get into on your ride home on Friday nights. But Road to Versailles always kind of sucks us in. So watch the 2 horse in this spot. Now, this was for 15 non-winners of 2. The winner is right on the outside, and that is Hanlon, who's going to be able to pull off the win. The 3rd place finisher was a Willie Theranos horse that both you and I liked the other day at the station, and won for just $7,500. But watch the 2 in here, like, just nowhere to go, and just can't get out. And now finally we get a chance to go towards the outside in here, and I find with inexpensive horses, they need no reason to quit. And if you give the horse one reason to quit, they'll be like, no problem, I'm done. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened with this horse. Road to Versailles said, you know what? I'll come and play another day. You don't want me to you want to keep checking me? I'll just stop. And the good horses won't do that. The claimers tend to do that.
Well, you know what we were talking about too yesterday with, because we were saying, I think now that we're starting to go a little bit further, we'll see the fitness from these winter race horses kind of help us out a little bit. And, you know, that's why I think you could look at, say, Magic Slips, even though they dropped the horse from 12.5 into 8, and they didn't get what they wanted. The horse has winter racing, same with Road to Versailles, that will help them out to travel the 7/8 distance. You know, an interesting stat that I'd kind of like to take a look at even next week if we can is how these winter race horses have actually done, because our local horses have done quite well.
They have, but you look at those longer races yesterday, 40 and 5, winter raced. Essex Serpent, winter trained. It matters, man.
That's when it matters, is when we're going to start to go a little bit longer on the program. So that's race number 10 on today's program, which will be the last race on the card. And then guess what?
What?
We're back next Friday.
I got to show up for work on Friday?
You got to show up for work on Friday. We don't know what time. Well, we're hoping that we need you to show up for a 1:05 post time. But there's a couple of changes here for everybody. Just one major change, obviously, with the Thursday post time. We're going to start at 3 o'clock. So that means that we'll be home in time, you know, maybe for 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then still be light outside so we can still walk the dog when we get home.
Yeah, so a bit of a tweak there for the Thursday first race post time.
So don't tune in later. You're going to miss the early double.
Yeah.
And also, that's just got to go around a lot more. I think we need to see a little bit more advertising about that, from us here, because I don't believe that a lot of people actually are aware that we're switching to the 3 o'clock post time for Thursday. So we add the Thursdays starting that last week of
May,
right? Which I think too, if I'm right.
Second last week of May.
Second last week of May?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then I think we'll see Ford start up the Tuesday following that.
Yeah, that's true too.
So then we'll have racing at the Ford on Tuesdays. Will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, Jeff, you're going to have to prop me up by
it's going to be
Sundays.
great. It's going to be great. If the Leafs are still going, then it's going to be.
Then I will wear my Maple Leaf jersey.
Absolutely.
Plays of the day. It's time to talk about that. What do you got?
So my debut thread's going to be slipping history because I think the horse will be second choice, maybe third choice. I think Cassie Horse is going to be the favorite. My price play is going to be Bourbon on a Holiday. Just hoping that we can strike. And that will be run by Davey Moran. It is Pietro's birthday today.
Yes.
It's on Pietro's birthday today. Big 2-0. My best bet is going to be Shinigami. I scratched onto that one because my other one scratched. And my key and horizontal wagers is Shifty, an Oaks contender coming up in race number 8.
Okay, so here's what I got, and I say beware of this Ross Armada horse, Commander at Sea, in race number 2. Please don't forget to include this horse in your exotics, because this one was ready to fire last season. Come On Big Lou is my best bet for the day from the John Ross outfit. Classic Dancer. Originally I had suggested this horse would beat the favorite because Drexler had another TDC horse in there, but that horse has been scratched. So we'll see what happens with Classic Dancer if he ends up being the favorite and then blow up the board.
Mike Wignowski, our harness trainer, gave you that name
Jeff
for your
was with
upset
me.
player of the day.
Yeah, and it's worked out.
Yeah,
I've used it once, and because you have to be very, use it very sporadically when you feel good about an upsetter. And I did use it at Mohawk one night, and it came up and paid $20 or so. So we'll see if it can happen again here if lightning strikes twice. Shinigami is a top selection for Doug McPherson, 2-1. Likely morning line favorite. I think you and I use this horse as a key today in race number 7 for our pick 4. And Jimmy's Affair at 6-1. Now Jimmy likes to race well in his very first start, but Jimmy's not so crazy about his second start off of the layoff.
And Jimmy does not race very often.
No, Jimmy likes to take lots of breaks.
Lots of vacations for Jimmy, and we'll see if Jimmy's able to pull off the win there. But running a nice best bet winner yesterday with a horse that you liked, the Josie Carroll horse.
Yeah, very good. All right, we got some clocker horses for you from Ernie Perry. Busy upstairs, tons of workers over the last little while, which means there's lots of horses that are ready to strike very soon. This dude's a breeze. Now you looked at this quickly and you're like, wait a minute, this is yesterday's Clocker Report. No. He had Maps a Breeze on the Clocker Report yesterday. So this dude's a breeze goes out for trainer Sarah Ritchie, 12-1 morning line. Watch for this horse. He was really impressed by the gallop out on this one and gets birthday boy Pietro Moran. Because it's his birthday, you know he's going to win at least 1 or 2 races. Miss Pierre, another Clocker horse for John Coriat at 20-1, Jeff. He's given us 2 big priced horses today, and that's what I love. Chalk, that's fine, but give us some horses at prices that we should include in our exotic wagers. So 12-1 and 20-1 on Miss Pierre. Lots of good things to talk about on today's show, including maybe a early look into that crystal ball of this year's King's Plate.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
So Jeff and I will take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll discuss some of the possibilities for this year's plate.
Love horse racing? HPIBet.com is Canada's leader in online horse betting. Access thousands of live races from hundreds of tracks worldwide instantly. Enjoy the most advanced betting tools like AI Smart Picks and exclusive cashback rewards you won't get anywhere else. Join today and get up to $100 in free bets. Get the ultimate horse betting experience with HPIBet.com.
Well, welcome back inside the studio. Lisa Blow alongside Jeff Bratt as we take kind of a look forward, obviously. We're a long way away yet from this year's edition of the King's Plate.
Yep.
But it is time to maybe start to look at some horses that are plate possibilities. We're still waiting to see some other big horses, obviously, making their first starts of the season, and they have a long time to get ready. It's not like before when you had to be ready by June.
Yeah.
You don't have to be ready until August. So we are going to see a lot of plate horses over the next few months, and maybe even some that aren't on the radar at all will show up.
It is really early, and we really haven't had any long distance races here locally as well. A lot can go on. We're basically 3 months away, right? So we're just trying to look ahead at maybe some horse to keep an eye on as the preps get closer and closer. We're going to focus on a horse that's down in the States.
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to focus on a horse that's based here in Toronto, and Notorious Gangster is the one for me. I love the way the horse ran the Woodstock Stakes. I picked the horse on this day, and here we are right now. Mancetti is the eventual winner of this race, and I think Mancetti's more of a sprinty type, although Kevin was kind of changed his thinking that maybe the horse might be able to go around 2 turns. But just watch the way this horse finishes up. It's eventually going to finish third, though will get placed second through disqualification. Just too short. And don't forget, this horse won the Coronation Futurity last season. Does that streak finally come to an end? Is the curse of the Coronation finally going to come to an end in here? But runs really well, and I was really happy with the ride he got. I was just really kind of bullies his way outside here, and it's a good run. And the goal is not to win a 6 furlong race.
Right.
It's to win a mile and a quarter race. And I just love the way he finishes up in here. And, if I was looking at my crystal ball early on, he's a horse, and I'm thinking we'll do some good things.
Well, if you asked Kevin Attard, last year about Mancetti, like he said in the interview, he said I wouldn't have even had the horse on my radar for the plate. And then Mancetti raced so well that, now here he is, a possibility for this year's plate. And Kevin was, pretty pumped about that one. Now, last year, this time, we didn't even know about Caitlin, her greatness.
Didn't even know she existed.
That's right. And so I think, sometimes you have to take a look south of the border and see some horses that are racing in the United States that are, potential plate horses. Now, I know this is a race on the grass, and this could likely be more of a breeder's horse than a horse for this year's plate. But still, it's a replay I want to show you. This is Tom's Magic. Now, this is a Stidham trainee who was a stakes winner back on March the 1st. So you can see him here with the Blue Silks. And again, it's a grass race, but that's what a lot of people say. Does the surface, the transition is maybe a little easier now that we have the synthetic surface. If you can race on turf, you should be able to handle the synthetic track. Now, he ends up getting the victory. Now, this is the Black Gold Stakes. Now, I know he comes back after this, and I don't believe he raced well in the Transylvania, which was also on the turf. But what's significant about this guy? Well, he just happens to be a little brother to a horse that we saw race yesterday, and that's Wyoming Bill, who had a great race for his first start back from the Catherine Day Phillips outfit. So, you always have to kind of pay attention to what's down south of the border as well, because if you were doing that last year, then you would have had the plate winner.
And Transylvania, I think, for that horse is probably a toss. It was such a giving turf course at Keeneland as well, so who knows, might not have handled it all that well. But it's by Justify, and I think we'll handle the all-weather just fine. So I think you're onto a real logical contender.
I just wanted to point him out. I'm not saying he's going to win the plate necessarily. I'm just saying, we talk a lot about our local horses, but let's not forget about the U.S. competitors too.
Exactly. Don't forget get your tickets Saturday, August the 16th, and tickets on sale right now at kingsplate.com. Tell them that Elisa and Jeff sent you.
That's right. Yeah, because you won't get a discount, but hey. We have to start thinking about, what we're going to wear.
Outfits,
all that stuff. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get perfect weather.
Yeah,
we do deserve it.
We deserve it,
for this year's King's Plate, but certainly looking forward to that. And it's quite a while away, so we still have plenty of time. You don't have a lot of time, though, to get ready for race number 1 on today's program. 10 races in store for you today. Babies kick off the opener, which means it could be loud here in the paddock.